My parents just ruined my credit score, and I am going to explain exactly how. I am now owing $120,000. I'm 22 and a fresh college graduate. My problem is that my parents are unusually biased towards my twin sister, Eva. After high school, I wanted to study law. I was looking forward to securing a scholarship, but my parents were not so confident about it. They insisted that I apply for an education loan to secure my position at the college before it was too late. I was yet to turn 18, so I didn't know much about loans. I trusted their judgment and went for the loan. Most of the paperwork was done by my parents. Since I didn't know enough, I just signed wherever they asked me to. When the scholarship results came, I got a partial scholarship. I curiously asked my parents, since half of my college fees would be covered, what they were going to do about the remaining ones. They said I need not worry about it, and they would simply deal with it. Due to the scholarship, my tuition fees got slashed in half, and I got hostel accommodation along with food at a subsidized rate. I had a quarterly stipend from my other end, so basically, the loan amount just covered half of my tuition fee because I used the stipend for my other expenses. Besides, I took up a part-time job at a cafe, which kept my expenses afloat. 4 years passed, and the topic never popped up in my family discussions. My parents wanted my sister Eva to join law school or any other decent course, but she decided to give her shots at her modeling career and did not join a college. After college, I started working as an intern at a law firm. I got a notice from the bank that I needed to pay back my loan of $120,000. I lost my mind upon seeing that large amount in the email. My tuition for the entire 8 semesters was no more than $60,000, including the interest, and here I was asked to pay the double amount. Even if I included the money that my parents invested in me when I was moving to my college dorm, the total amount would not be more than $70,000. So I called up my parents and asked them about the amount. They said the college fee was $120,000, so they had applied for the same amount in case my scholarship did not go through. I was confused. I told them I got half the scholarship, subsidized food and accommodation, so why did they take the total amount from the bank? They tried to give some excuse, and I realized it was all BS. I understood the matter could not be solved over the call, so I visited them last weekend. They tried their best to avoid the conversation, but I pestered them that I needed the complete account of where the money had gone. After much to and fro, they said that they gave the remaining amount to Eva for her education. I started fuming at the revelation. I vented, saying they always favored her and that their pampering had doomed her life. My mother turned defensive at this point. They said that they always cared for both of us equally. They said they did not intend to give away my loan money to her, but since I got a partial scholarship, they decided to give half of it to her. I fought back, asking why they did not take a separate loan out for her. They said that her high school grades were not that great to get her a loan. Besides, they didn't have any other assets beside their house, which they had already mortgaged for my loan. I stormed out of the conversation after saying that I would not pay anything more than $70,000 and that Eva or they should be responsible for paying the remaining balance. The next morning, I was chilling by myself in my room when my father knocked on my door. He said he wanted to have an adult conversation with me. No, not the conversation you're anticipating. It was again about the loan. He said that as a father, it was his responsibility to secure the future of both of his children, hence what he had to do. I asked him on what basis they gave Eva such a huge amount of money when she didn't even join a college. He said he tried his best for Eva to join, but she did not. Instead, she wanted to start her modeling career. I sarcastically asked him if she was able to get any breakthrough in those 4 years. He said no, but he could not stop her from trying at least. I felt bad for my mean remarks, but what could I do? I told him $120,000 was too big of an amount for me. He said that I was earning a decent stipend from my job, and after a few months, I would be earning good money from my full-time job, so it would not be difficult for me to repay the loan. I protested, but he cut me off, saying that I was still 22 and had 5 years to pay the loan. Besides, I was earning, but Eva was not. Her career is still in the dark, so how could they ask her to pay the money? He gave me a further lecture that a man is a selfless being, and I need to learn this so that I can be a good husband and a good father in the future. I was not buying this, but tolerated it with rolling eyes. The thing is, I just don't know if I really should be paying $50,000 on my sister's behalf. Is it really my responsibility, or is it just rubbing it in my face just because I'm earning and she's not? I'm really confused. I spoke to a few of my friends, and they are of the opinion that I should pay, while my girlfriend, also my classmate from college, thinks I should not pay the full amount. My sister should at least contribute something. Hence, I'm here to get the neutral opinion of strangers. I think I've added all the relevant information, but in case I missed any, please comment and I will add it. Update number 1. Hey guys, I got a lot of comments that one cannot give away the education loan amount to others. It can be done only in the case of a personal loan. Yeah, you guys are right. An education loan is directly disbursed to the college account, but a part of the money is also sent to the account holder for other expenses, such as food, accommodation, books, etc. As I mentioned in my first post, these facilities were provided by my university at a subsidized rate, and the remaining expenditure was covered by my part-time job. So my parents acted smart and withdrew the remaining $50,000 from my personal account and transferred it to my sister. Yes, they had access to my account. I was 18 then and had no clue how these banking systems worked. I don't know if I was just stupid or naive to not understand these things, but this was what it was. With the information I'm sharing now, I discovered some of the policies by researching online and some by inquiring with my parents. You would be shocked to know how they executed their plan to withdraw the money. It was clear that they withdrew the money and funded me for other expenses, but they had to share the bill for the expenses. The shocking part is that the bill never shot to $50,000. How were they able to do so? They created a fake bill. That's right, they confessed to doing so because they had no other option but to do it. And yes, they had the option, and it was not to withdraw the money. I walked out on them several times during the conversation, but I realized it was not wise because I needed the solution, not them. The loan was in my name. It would screw up my credit score, not theirs. If I defaulted, I would be jailed, not them. So I calmed down and told them that if Eva could not pay the loan amount, they had to pay the $50,000 on her behalf. That simple. My mother turned dramatic and said that I was their only son and that it was my responsibility to take care of them and my sister. She gave me examples of other cousins who built houses and bought cars for their parents, but I was doing nothing for them. My parents were so protective of Eva that they kept her out of these discussions completely. They insisted I don't discuss this with her because she would be stressed. Really, they said that she was already pretty disturbed because of her dry career, and in this situation, she would not be able to handle the stress at all. I fought back, showing them her well-maintained social media page where she doesn't look stressed at all and is busy posting happy birthday party pictures with friends every other day. They said that she has to put up a happy, brave face on social media because she's going to be a public figure. So delusional. I decided to have a direct conversation with Eva regarding the money. Enough of treating her like a little princess. So that night, I stayed up late because she used to arrive home only after midnight. My parents were asleep by the time she arrived, so I grabbed the opportunity when I heard her car in the driveway. I deliberately sat with an ice cream bowl and offered her a scoop when she entered. I started with small talk about life, cousins, and neighbors. To make her comfortable, I also gave her some gossip about her school friend. I know she's my sister and I need not be formal with her. I wasn't formal, but I was never that close because of my parents' bias towards her. So, I kind of hated her, Eva. During the conversation, I asked about her career. Trust me, her response did not give me the slightest vibe that she was depressed about her career. I asked her if she had undertaken any courses or skills related to her aspirations. She said no. I then asked her what she did with the money our parents gave her. At first, she gave a confused look and said, "Which money?" I said, 50,000 from the student loan. Do you know what she did with that money? No cosmetic surgery, lip job, or anything. It would have been a better utilization of the money, guys. She spent the money on nothing. She had just wasted it away partying and vacationing with friends. I was trying to put on a face until then, but at that moment, I absolutely lost it. I could not help but yell at her in shock about how she could spend such a huge amount partying. She fought back and said it was none of my business. Of course, it was my business because I was being asked to pay the money back that she had smoked out with her friends. Our argument got so severe that my parents woke up and rushed to intervene. Seeing us arguing, they charged at me, asking why I indulged her in the money matters. Why not? She's the one who wasted the money and is being unremorseful about it. Usually I don't fight back, but this time I did. I asked them if they knew about it, and they tried to calm me down, insisting that we discuss it in the morning. But I insisted that I needed clarification right then and there. I made it clear to the spoiled princess that I would not pay the money she spent. I would only pay my tuition fee. She challenged me to do whatever I wanted, but she would not pay a penny. She said that the loan was in my name, hence there was no way that she would be caught legally. She was right to an extent. I felt so defeated that I could not stand them any longer. I told my parents that either she or they would have to pay the money. I stormed out of the house and stayed with my school friend for the night. The next morning I left for my hostel without talking to anyone. Luckily, through my first post, I got the contact information of a bank official, and he really guided me with the loan policy. After the confrontation with Eva and my parents, I spoke to him and learned that I could actually sue my parents for faking the bill and taking the loan amount. But before that, I had to gather the original bills. It wasn't easy because I had lost most of the bills while shifting from my college dorm to my condo after graduation. It took me a few days to scavenge through emails and other apps to gather all the soft copies of the bills. After I left home that morning, my parents did not even bother to call me or check up on me. Had it been a normal situation, I would have been fine, but I left the house in a rage, yet they ignored me. I also did not want to speak to them, so I did what they least wanted me to do: harass their little princess, Eva. I sent the excerpts of the law which stated the penalty in the jurisdiction for loan forgery and said that if they did not pay back the 20,000 plus the 50,000 in total, I would sue them for fraud. And well, I have all the original bills and I would resist the court cases just because they're my parents. She did not reply, but moments later, I got a call from Dad. I didn't answer. He left a voice note that I was such a greedy person who could not even bear minimum responsibility for my younger sister. Younger sister, really? She's 2 minutes younger than me, for goodness sake. Even then, I might have thought of paying if she had utilized it properly or even if she was guilty of it. No, she was proud of spending it. My parents feel that they are entitled to my money. Why? Just because I earn. The message I sent to Eva, I forwarded to my dad. He did not respond back, but my mother did. She labeled me as greedy, stubborn, and self-centered. I told them I didn't care what they labeled me, but they needed to pay the money anyways. After a lot of back and forth and constant follow-ups, my father said he would need some time to review his assets, and then he would get back. It's been a week since, and I've not heard from either of them. I know I went a little too far when I said I would sue them, but do I have any other option? It's not that I am incapable of paying the money. If it had been utilized judiciously, I wouldn't mind. So why the hell should I take the unnecessary burden upon myself? I will update you on the situation as it progresses, but thanks for guiding me. Update number 2. As I mentioned in my previous post, I almost threatened my parents that I would sue them for fraud if they did not pay $50,000, which they gave to Eva. They had forgotten my bills to get the amount. After several arguments and bad-mouthing, my father borrowed some time to review his assets and get back to me. It's been more than a month since I've heard back from them. Although I had 6 months to start my loan installments, I started paying off the E&I loan since I was already working. It was my third E&I, and it's a long time until I'll be halfway through it. I have to pay half. Nonetheless, I texted my father again, asking him about the status. I did not get a response, but a few days later, my mother and Eva showed up at my condo. I called them inside, but my mother yelled at me right from the corridor. She called me shameless for blackmailing my parents for some money when they had worked their entire lives to raise me and provide such a good education for me. To avoid any scene in front of my neighbors, I urged them to come inside. They came inside, but Eva also joined my mother in accusing me and labeling me with all sorts of mean words. I shouted back at Eva that she was the one who should be ashamed of smoking out such a huge amount of money and that she should pay. She said she did not ask our parents to give her the money. They gave it to her by themselves, and now she's not liable to pay it back. Do you guys see any logic in that reason? No, right? My mother went so far as to blackmail me, saying that they even mortgaged their house for my future. I lost my patience and said that in that case, I'd stop paying the E&I and ask the bank officials to auction the house and recover the loan amount. Hearing this, they understood that I was not going to be convinced, so they bit their tongue, cursed me, and left. After a month or so, I again followed up with my father, saying that they needed to pay the money. He replied stating that they were planning to partition the backside of the house to give it for rent, and that rental money would be used to pay the E&I for Eva's share of the loan. I felt bad that my house had to be split to repay the loan amount, but more than me, Eva should be the one guilty of this. But she wasn't. She constantly just blames me for breaking the peace in the household, and I've stopped caring about it. As of now, I'm paying the E&I. I discussed with the bank manager regarding the tenure, and he said it would still be 3 more years before $70,000 would be paid. So I have 3 years to squeeze money out of my parents' pockets. Hopefully, by then, they'll be able to arrange the money. I'll update you guys if anything develops. Update number 3. Hey guys, I know you've been asking where I went. It's been 3 years since I posted my story here. A lot has changed during this period. I'm now a corporate lawyer in Canada. I'm engaged to my college sweetheart, and I think I mentioned her in my previous post. We're planning our wedding next year, and finally, I'm loan-free. I've completed paying off my loan amount, and I'm grateful for all my accomplishments and success. But I also lament my soaring relationship with my parents. My father agreed to rent out half of our house and cover Eva's loan payment, as I mentioned in my previous update. He did pay for a few installments, but as soon as they got to know that I had a high-paying full-time job at a big corporate company, he stopped paying the E&I. Initially, he gave several excuses, like the tenant not paying the rent, my mother's medical bills shooting up, and sometimes he said that he was in debt for his business. Hence, he needed the money. He kept stalling the payment for the last 2.5 years, saying something or another. I never visited my house. After I moved to Canada, because I didn't like it, I believed his lies for a few months until I called my aunts who lived next door. My aunt told me that there's nothing like that, and even my parents had constructed 2 more floors on top of her house and rented it. They were actually earning quite well and leading a lavish lifestyle. I asked her if Eva was able to make a breakthrough in her career. My aunt laughed at this and said that she was never serious about it. She always wanted to suck up my parents' money. This revelation confused me, and I asked her if she was sure about all these things. She said that my mother and Eva left no opportunity in the family gatherings to flaunt their designer wares and new collections of jewelry. She even sent me pictures of them from a few events. I was disheartened that my parents were just using me for money. I was so mad at them that I sent the final ultimatum to my father. If they did not pay the money, I would have to lodge a police complaint against them. By then, I had moved to Canada, and I also told them that I would default on the loan. They would have to lose the house that he had mortgaged. I also said that I don't need any more credit from the bank, so I don't care to take a hit on my credit score. It won't matter. The same series of events happened, which I had described earlier, where my parents and sister ganged up against me and abused me. At one point, it got so torturous that I felt like just paying the whole money and getting done with that. My girlfriend supported me and helped me fight through this. Her sister is into the police, and she took her help in my matter. Her sister called my parents and said I was at the police station to lodge a forgery complaint against them. However, since it's not a criminal case, they wanted to have an out-of-court settlement. I felt bad for doing this, but I had to. My father agreed to pay the money. I played my cards well and said that I would not get into trouble every now and then. Hence, they needed to pay the money in one shot, and I knew he had the money. My aunt told me that 6 months before the incident, my grandfather's house was sold, and all my aunts, uncles, and my father got $200K each as their share. After a little hesitance and threats of police complaints, he finally agreed to pay the money at once. He transferred the money a week ago, and I preterm closed a loan by paying off my share of the amount. With the money, he'd also sent a note that they were going to disown me and cut me off, so I should never contact them again. I broke down at this, and my girlfriend said that it was not my fault at all. They're just greedy humans. No matter how bad your family is, it hurts to get disowned by your own blood. I cried and even blamed myself for the situation, and I even thought of giving them back the money. But when my emotions subsided, I realized that even if I did everything for them, they would not value me. I've been paying the E&I for the last 3 years, yet they never appreciated nor loved me. They never asked for the money politely, and they always demanded it as if they were entitled to it. On the other hand, they were just showering their wealth on their useless daughter. Why? Just because she was a girl. I don't know what the logic behind the bias was. I know I might get a lot of hate for threatening my parents and extorting the money from them, but it was fair. I've come out of the guilt, and now I don't care what people label me to be. I wanted to make this closing update because there were a few people from the community who really helped me understand the loan policy when I was young and naive to understand its complexities. Anyways, thanks for hearing me out. All right, let's cut to the chase. Some of the comments in the comments section of the original post were saying how they do not agree with OP to go after his family like this and try to get the money back. He was saying that he agrees that they do have a responsibility, and OP's responsibility was to help his sister and his family out. I would say that was about 30 to 35% of the comments from the original post, and about 70% were saying no, we don't agree with that at all. OP did the right thing chasing after the money that his family put him in debt for. It was not his responsibility, and his sister did not even use the money for education. So, guys, I do want to know your opinions on this. Drop your thoughts downstairs in our comment section, and let's discuss it. This story had a lot of ups and downs, so I do want to hear your thoughts once again. My name is Mr. Redito. If you want to support the channel, there are 3 ways to do it. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification icon, leave a comment down below, and smash that like button. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya!